Hello and welcome back to Don't Starve with Splattercat. Where we left off, it had been our second evening here on the horrible Lovecraftian island upon which we had been abandoned. However, we were doing our best to keep ourselves fed and to keep ourselves from starving, so I'm going to take the opportunity here to cook up some more food just to make sure that we have ample supplies. I don't want to end up starving because that's not the point of the game. So now we kind of have to wait for nightfall to go away, and this is really one of my biggest complaints about the game, is nightfall is kind of Like, there's not a whole lot of things to do at night. You can kind of get your supplies together, but there's not a whole lot of things that I want to craft at this point in the game. But I think I will get some of my tools together. So I'm going to go ahead and make a pickaxe. I already have a shovel. And anything else on the list here that I think might be useful. Our survival menu, we don't have a lot of things available to us at the moment, so I'm not going to focus too heavily on that. We don't have farming plots or anything of that nature. I am going to go ahead and add some fuel to the fire just to make sure it doesn't go out on us and end up getting us killed. Let's see if the Grue comes after us. This is pretty far from the fire. It looks like the Grue has decided to be merciful. He has not come after us. But our axe just broke on us, so I'm going to build another one. There we are. So we have another axe built. Let's see if we can get this tree down here. Alright, got some more pine cones and things for the future. Take a look at my map and kind of figure out where I want to go with this. I'm thinking we may want to go left up the coast like so. Maybe that'll turn out better for us, and we'll wait for it to roll over here into morning before we go ahead with that course of action. So I'm going to kind of draw a line here between the 2 points that I want to be at. Hopefully this doesn't turn out to be a circular island with no way off. Hopefully we find another land bridge, which will take us to a different biome. Ideally, the perfect thing that I would like right now is for us to find the biome we wanted very close to the pig city, because this is going to give me an ample supply of pig labor and things of that nature, and then I can also take the things that I find and bring them back to the Pig King. That would generally that'd be the way I wanted this to play out, but it may not be. Sometimes you don't always get the hand you want, so running around the edge of the island here. Hopefully this doesn't take too long, because that doesn't make for super good viewing. But then again, what if something crazy happens in between here and there and I just skip it in post? Then you're just completely boned, because then something awesome happened. Then I tried to describe it to you guys, but it's not the exact same as having you there, and it's just a giant letdown. So I don't think we're going to be lucky with this island. It looks like it's going to take us all the way around in a circle, which is a little disappointing, because I did want to have our base camp set up by the end of this episode, but who knows. I'm going to go ahead, and I think I'll hit the Badlands, and sometimes there's a prairie attached to Badlands, so we'll check that kind of little area out, and we'll get some stone while we're over there. I'm going to quit my pickaxe for the moment, because I am raring to go. I'm ready to destroy some stone. The geologist inside of me is screaming, "Yee!" and is getting excited, because if there's one thing in life that Splattercat knows how to do, it's how to hit a rock with a pickaxe. So let's get over here to the Badlands and see if we can find ourselves some gold and some extra things that we can use. We could use a bit more flint. We have quite a bit, but not a ton. And there we are, just getting rid of some of these mines. And the stones are going to be useful because they're going to help us build a permanent campfire that we can reignite whenever we need to. Now, I didn't touch on this in the last episode, but every character has their own special ability. So some characters are better at fighting, some characters just have strange abilities, like Wilson, which is the scientist that you start with. He grows a beard, which you can then shave off, and you can use his beard hairs to make items. He considers himself to be somewhat of a beardsman, and the gameplay mechanic makes use of that, which is really unique. With Willow, she sets things on fire. She's kind of the resident pyromaniac, and she can actually get you into a little bit of trouble, but she is immune to fire, so she doesn't really get injured by any of the things she burns down, which is a genuine concern with other characters. So we did get a gold nugget there, not to switch gears too quickly, but we got a gold nugget, which is extremely valuable. You can use gold nuggets to build all kinds of cool stuff, namely weapons that don't break in like 3 seconds, and then you can also use them to get tons of research points if you plug them into a research machine. I don't think I'm going to need too much more stone, so these should keep me supplied with enough stone for a little bit. We didn't get as much gold as I would have hoped, but then again, we got enough gold to make one advanced item, so I guess that's better than nothing if we're going to be positive about it. And let's take a look around this island and see if we can find the biome that we want. Now, as you can see, the trees are dying around us. The trees are part of the life cycle as well. As I explained, everything in this game functions in the life cycle, so That's very cool. Very, very cool. It looks like this is just a huge Badlands biome, which is rare. I don't think I've ever seen one take up an entire island before. But what can you do? So I'm going to cut right now, and we're going to see if we can find this prairie biome. We haven't found any food in a while, so if food gets too dire, we may have to go back up and go back to our little pasture biome and see if we can get ourselves locked down on some food. Get a little bit better of a food supply before we strike out on further adventures. And yeah, this is just a sizable Badlands. Just keeps kind of going forever. So I'm thinking there may not be a lot here for us, although in the future this will be a very useful area. Simply because of the huge supply of stone it's going to afford us. We are not going to be a stone poor group of people. We will definitely have our ducks in a row to build some of the better structures and things. Now I want to lay out the itinerary here. So we're looking for the beefalo herd. If you didn't know, or you didn't watch last episode, the beefalo herd supplies us with manure so that we can build our farms and so that we can start our base camp, and that bird is going to come at me. In a recent patch, they made these tall birds much more aggressive. They're super scary now, and they one-shot you too. They do a huge grip of damage. You generally just want to stay the hell away from them. They are... What is this? Just gold everywhere. Don't mind if I do. I'll go ahead and scoop this greedily into my bag because I'm never one to turn down a good thing. There's no point just leaving. Is there any more? Guess not. Oh well, we found the road, so let's see. It's going to be a land bridge right here. Let's see what's across this land bridge. We still have 20 food left, so we're good for a couple days. We're not going to get ourselves into too much trouble on the food front, so we still have some adventuring time ahead of us. But night is here, so it's going to be our third night. We're moving right along with our survival tactics, and it looks like we found another pasture biome, which works. I was a little concerned about a food situation, so this allows me to restock a tad while we go around and explore. A large proportion of this game is just messing around, seeing what works and what doesn't. There are tons of items around that can both injure you or help you, and you have to know which, and you have to experiment. Like, I would recommend if you're going to play this game, don't look at the wiki too much. Looking at the wiki for a game like this can be a little disappointing because this game has a lot of exploration, and that's really one of the big driving factors of the game is figuring out what certain things do. It gives you a lot of room for experimentation and playing around. I would definitely recommend taking items and just pointing them at other random items and seeing what happens, seeing if you can combine them and make other things. Now, we're probably going to pitch our fire here pretty shortly. So there we are. I'll get that fire in place, and I'm going to switch back to my axe here, and we're going to chop down some of these trees while we wait for the evening to be over. I'm going to grab this bush first, and then I'm going to dig it up and throw it in my inventory because once we get to a certain state, we're definitely going to want to start planting these bushes and start using them to kind of grow our own food and give us kind of an alternate food supply so that we don't end up running around searching for food. We want it to always be in one centralized location for when we have our adventures, because it can detract. Your days are really short in this game. The days are not as long as you would like them to be. So with the short days, you really want to be able to just grab what you need and go. I'm going to take the opportunity and kind of chop down some of these smaller trees as well. Usually I leave the smaller trees alone so they can grow a little bit. But since we have nothing else to do at night, I pick a sapling. We are twig wanting at the moment again, which is unfortunate. And our our hunger meter is blinking at us, so I should probably eat some food. And there we are. Our hunger's back up to normal. A bird was kind enough to leave us some poop seeds here. I'm going to get rid of these flower petals. I don't really use flower petals very often for anything, so I'm just going to use them for fuel here, just to get the fire nice and built up. And then we're going to wait for morning. And maybe I can get out to this tree? Maybe? Don't eat me, Gru. Nope. So if you get that warning that says it's so dark, that means the Gru's about to get you. And you really don't want to play around with that too much. That's kind of your warning that you have like 4 seconds to get back to light, otherwise you are just toast. Now looking through some of the things here, you can see that right here this is a science machine, and this is what we're going to build once we make our base camp. At the moment, we are not ready to make our base camp. I would really like to have kind of sustainable farming ready to go before we actually put down roots. And then from there we'll do some exploration, find some adventures, see if we can trap some of the more interesting denizens of the island. This place doesn't have a name, so I was thinking of a name, and I think I'm just going to call these like the islands of RumbleBlankets. So while we're adventuring through RumbleBlankets, hopefully we will come across the prairie biome very shortly, because if I don't have a base camp made by the next couple episodes, it's going to be kind of a disappointing LP. It's going to become a tad boring. Let's see here. Prairie. If I get really desperate, I may resort to doing my beefalo call, although it's not really 100% successful. The beefalo call is kind of a last resort, and I'm being facetious right now. It's not a real thing. It's just, I'm just talking out of my ass at the moment. So, moving along, I guess we're just going to try and find another island, and hopefully this one doesn't leave us absolutely chapped and wanting. Hopefully we can find another land bridge. Get that log we left behind for the Gru. And I guess I'll forage from this bush real fast. Now, and there we are, another land bridge. Fantastic. We were just having, if you haven't played this game, we are having a tremendous amount of luck just finding our way around and making sure that we're finding land bridges. Sometimes you end up running in circles for just what feels like days, just doing nothing and getting nothing completed. And that's kind of a disappointing aspect of doing LPs you never know. And hey, here it is. We have found our prairie biome, which is now going to be where we're going to consider setting up shop. So let's take a look around and see if we can find our good friends, the beefalos. We should hear them going "Arr" pretty soon. There are some rabbits around, so we can get some food done. No beefalos thus far. They should be out here somewhere, I swear. There he is. Look at him. He's adorable. Don't you just want to hug him? And as you can see, they take giant dumps on the ground and move, beefalo. You can kind of push them. Move, beefalo. There we go. So I push the beefalo out of the way. Move him down there so I can pick up his poo. Beefalos generally, they kind of seem oblivious. I would love to pick up their poo. They don't mind living in squalor and just rolling in their own feces. That's why I have to look after them and get as much poo as I can. And so, as you can see, they interact with you. They all kind of eyeball you when you run by, which is cool. I like that. It's little features like that that help sell a game for me. It's those little touches, those little nuanced things that they tend to program in and that most developers tend to ignore that really seem to attract me as a gamer. And hopefully they keep on pooping. Come on, beefalos. Poop like the wind. I guess if the wind could poop. God, that would be awful. Can you imagine that if the wind could take dumps and you just go outside one day and there's just like wind poop everywhere? God, what a mess. At least unless it would be like invisible, like wind. And then there'd be invisible poo everywhere. It'd be kind of like landmines, but generally it seems like it would be an unpleasant thing if the wind started pooping. And he looked focused right there. I don't know what he was planning on doing, but he looked like he was about to blow some hairs off his backside. Now, we have a reasonable supply of manure. Let me go through my farming tab here. We can make speedy farm plots. We can make turbo farm plots. And the turbo ones are really, really fast. So I would like to get as much manure as possible to get that turbo farm plot going. Now, let's take a look around here. There's some more poo. Be careful. The selectivity of your mouse can be kind of a bitch in this game. You do click around a lot of things, and these things will go hostile if you accidentally attack them. So if you're like me, I used to unequip my weapons, but now I just don't care. So, que sera, sera. If they decide to try and gore me, I know that I'm their friend, and beefalos are not the most intelligent of animals, so I forgive them. I forgive them, for they know not what they do. Now, let's see. We have enough for 2 turbo farm plots at the moment, although we don't have enough grass. But we're almost at the end of our next day, so I'm going to run around and grab a little bit more grass. And there's another land bridge, so I'm going to mark that in my memory and make sure that deep down I know it's still there. And I am a little interested in kind of catching some of these rabbits and getting some meat into our systems, because we can both eat meat and we can use the meat to bribe the pigmen and make them our servants. They will actually help us chop down trees and do all manner of useful services if we can feed them and convince them that we are their friends. But for the moment, there's some more seeds there. We're going to need those, and that bird was coming down to get the seeds, but I said, no, bird. This is my hood. This is where I roll. Now, RumbleBlankets has been good to us. It really has. Usually it takes a lot longer to find these kind of essential things that you need. And I apologize if it seems like I've spent an entire episode just running in circles picking up poo, but it is necessary, and you will see why in the near future. we do need to get as many farming plots going as possible. And so this is going to be the end of our 4th day here. So I'm going to take this last opportunity to just grab a bit more grass. And once I've got that bagged... Oh no. It appears that my food rots now. Hopefully it doesn't make me sick. Having diarrhea in RumbleBlankets would kind of suck. Alright, so that's a new feature. I was wondering what that bar was that was ticking down there. I haven't played in a couple weeks. It looks like they added your food going bad. So that definitely speeds up the process a little bit. We're going to have to go ahead and we're going to have to become self-sustaining a lot more rapidly. That actually is going to accelerate the process of the game a bit. So let's go ahead and get some things planted. So I think off to the side here of the beefalo herd is probably a good place to do all this. The beefalos can sometimes cause frame lag, which can be a little... Oh, never mind, there's spiders. So I guess we'll go over here. The spiders just went hostile. That's what that angry noise was. And we're going to put down a permanent campfire. So there it is. Our permanent campfire. And if you look on your map, it marks it. Well, you can't see it because my fat head's in the way. But it does. You'll have to take my word for it. And I'm going to build a couple farming plots. We'll build one there. And we'll go ahead and seed it as quickly as possible. Where'd my seeds go? There they are. And we have seeded that area. And now, let's see. I probably have the materials to do another one. We have materials to do one more. So we'll put in a second turbo farm plot here. And there we are. There's our second farming plot. And we'll plant that one as well to see how quickly we can get it up and going. And this has been Splattercat. I was going to do these in 2-day episodes, so thank you for joining me. And I will see you in the next episode. Take care out there.